Hey guys, and welcome to Petrol Ped, and welcome to this week's Midweek 180. And it has been 2 weeks since I've done a Midweek 180 because I've been away so much. In fact, in June, I was away from home for 19 days of June. So it is fantastic to be home. And thankfully, I'm actually home quite a bit over the next couple of weeks. My schedule's been so busy. I've had some amazing experiences, done some cool things, and made some good videos. But it is quite nice to be home. So yeah, apologies for not doing a Midweek 180 for the last couple of weeks. I've got lots to talk about in this episode, but let's get some housework out the way. I went back to the Midweek 180 from a couple of weeks ago, and leader of the pack was Francois G, who I happened to bump into at Le Mans. Everybody, this is what Francois G looks like. So it was great to meet up with you, mate, and always good to see you. Hopefully see you at Goodwood again soon in the near future. Joined in the Magnificent Seven by Ben Higginson, Michael Kember, Paul Mead, Kevin DG7, Witten 6475, and Tristan Bird. So whoever was the first comment this week, you'll be in my Ludo back next week, and the first 7 comments will be in my Magnificent 7. Where are you and what you're doing? I've got 3 this week. So Bino 6452 was in Lake Como on honeymoon. Congratulations. Lawrence Moore was cuddling his 5-week-old goddaughter, who quite likes the Petrol Ped outro to my videos. So Gabriella, she's now 7 weeks because that's how long ago that video was commented on. And Ken Tong was in Tenerife celebrating his 30th wedding anniversary. Massive congratulations. So wherever you are, whatever you're doing right now, put it in the comments and I'll give you a shout out next week. The question in the last Midweek 180 was basically with the election coming up. Sadly, it's this week, and I'm so bored of politics. Whatever happens is going to be a nightmare. What policies for the election? Some brilliant ones. Go back and have a look at some of the comments. I liked particularly the mandatory spatial awareness test for all car buyers so that they were able to understand whether their car would fit through a gap on the road and also into a parking space. And many of you said basically just fix all the potholes and restore the roads to what they were like maybe 15 years ago. Now, this week's question, basically really simple. Was Max in the wrong? Because let's talk about Formula One. And actually, there's 2 Formula One races taking place since the last time I did a Midweek 180. Spain, I was actually there. I was on a tour with GT Tours. But the Austrian Grand Prix that took place the weekend just gone, I thought it was a brilliant weekend of racing, great sprint race. But the actual main race itself, clearly the big incident was Lando Norris and Max Verstappen having a real tussle. It's great to see cars finally being able to take it to Red Bull. And over a course of 3 or 4 laps, you could see it getting closer and closer and closer. And then ultimately, Lando went for an overtake. And in my opinion, Max closed the door on him. And basically, there was a collision. Lando Norris his car was damaged too much to carry on. Max carried on. He got a 10-second penalty. In my view, a couple of things. Firstly, I think he was driving dangerously. I think he was moving under the brakes a number of times before the incident happened, and when it did happen, you can clearly see him open the steering wheel and drive into Lando. And pretty much every pundit that I've heard interviewed about that incident basically blames Max. And I think I really liked Andrea Stella from McLaren. He basically said the whole world knows Max was in the wrong, apart from a group of people that basically wear Red Bull clothing. I think it's something that needs to be dealt with. It's interesting. I don't think Max has cleaned up his driving in the last couple of years. It's just that no one's ever got close enough to him for him to show his true colours again. And he just drove with his elbows out. And there was an element of, I want fair racing, but I think Max gets to the point where you could see it with Lando. He kind of moved under braking a couple of times, and Lando kept giving him more and more space because he was not confident that Max wasn't going to do that. And in the end, it ended up in tears. George Russell clearly inherited the victory, which is great for the Mercedes team. And it's just nice to see McLaren and Mercedes actually up at the sharp pointy end again. And then the other thing about F1, Stroll's got a re-sign of his contract. It must be nice if your dad owns a Formula One team, because he's certainly not there on merit, in my humble opinion. New car news this week. I just want to talk a bit about the Aston Martin Valour. It's not that it's a new car. I saw one when I was up at Topaz. Saw Gordon Ramsay's one being PPF'd up at Topaz. Amazing car. They've been around a while, but a few videos have dropped as the press have been given access to them, and they look like a stunning thing. Basically, they are a V12 Vantage with a lovely 70s inspired body dropped on it. Twin turbo 5.2 litre V12 with 705 horsepower. And they're only making 110. They cost just over £1 million, so it's hardly like an everyday family car. But the big thing I wanted to talk about briefly is it's a manual transmission. 3 pedals, manual 6-speed transmission. And the question I wanted to kind of put out there and see what your response is, are manuals dying? And I know we've talked about this for a long time, but I was really interested. When I was at the N24 recently with Mini, I basically quizzed Mini about why there isn't a manual version of the new F66 Mini. They're all automatics. Because Minis, it should be a manual, should have the option for a manual, driver's car and all that. And the simple answer I got back was, nobody bought them. Not enough people bought the manual for them to justify making a manual. So we all moan at the demise of manuals. We all want manual cars, yet actually when it comes down to the crunch, not enough people are buying them. And that for me, I just thought I'd see what your thoughts are on that. I love driving a manual car. My Roadster is manual, but on the drive tour I've just got back from, there were elements of the driving, and certainly in some of the mountain roads, it would have been great to be in a manual car just for that ultimate engagement. But ultimately, we were driving for 4, 5, 6 hours a day, quite high pace, quite intensive driving. And I think in a manual, it would have been very, very fatiguing. It was just easy with the flappy paddle gearbox. So what are your thoughts on the demise of the manual car? And if you were 17 years old, would you bother doing a manual driving test? Because the chances are you're going to be buying an automatic car. In fact, actually, if you're 17 going into the future, the chances are you're going to be buying a hybrid or an electric car, which clearly isn't going to be manual. So yeah, interesting one. And then content-wise, I'm going to try and get back to normal. So this Friday's video is basically a capturing of my 8 days in the Pyrenees with GT Tours. I was away in my Porsche Boxster with an amazing group of cars and people on some of the best roads I've ever driven, and I tried to kind of distill that down into one video, which took a lot of editing. I have put out a couple of videos from my drive tour. I had the opportunity to drive an amazing circuit called Po Ono, and also have an FPV drone follow me around on a lap. Now that video dropped on Monday and it's not doing particularly well at all. So if you haven't watched that yet, I'll put a link in the description, head over and see that. And I also did a slightly different spin on a video. I've never done it before. I literally drove one of the best roads I think there is in Europe. It's called Calada de Tossa, and I drove it in one take with the cameras rolling just to try and get you immersed. And if you aren't fortunate enough to go along on drive tours like I am, to sort of put you in the passenger seat, if you like, and take you with me. So make sure you check out those because I think they're worthwhile. But yeah, Friday's video is my GT Tours video. And then yesterday, I got back from tour last Friday. Yesterday and Monday, I was in Italy with Alfa Romeo on the international first press drives of the Alfa Romeo Junior, which is their all-electric kind of compact sports hatch. And it's under driving embargo impressions until next Tuesday. So the video will drop on Tuesday. So I'm going to move my Monday video to Tuesday. So there won't be a video on Monday, but the video will drop on Tuesday at lunchtime. We were at Balocco, which is the Alfa Romeo, and well, it was part of Fiat Chrysler, it's now Stellantis's test facility. But the Alfa Romeo guys allowed us onto what's called the Langhi circuit, which is 22 kilometers long of just the coolest roads. And because it was a test facility, the car's not actually homologated for road use yet, so we couldn't drive it on the public road. So we drove it on the Langhi circuit, and then we got to drive it on the Alfa Romeo F1 test track, which was mega. So that is a pretty special video. I haven't edited it yet, but that will be going live on Tuesday. And then last thing before I shut up and leave you to your day, I will be at Silverstone this coming Friday. So I'm at Silverstone on Friday with Skoda for free practice 1 or 2. Never watched free practice at a Formula One event before, so I'm quite looking forward to that. And then I will be at Silverstone on race day, Sunday. And then we're building up to Festival of Speed. I've got some amazing stuff planned for Festival of Speed, which I cannot wait to share with you. And I'm also going to be at the Formula E the weekend before. So super busy, lots and lots on, but at least I'm at home. And last thing, the garage build is going amazingly. We're only like 5 weeks in. I've got the feedback from my Dream Garage Ep series is very, very positive. There's lots of exciting things happening outside today. We've had some steels delivered today. Windows have been delivered yesterday. So there's lots and lots. Roof goes on next week. So tune in or keep tuned for the next episode of that. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed that. If you did, give me a thumbs up. Comments below are always welcome. And if you haven't done so already, please subscribe to Petrol Ped for plenty more content to come. And I will see you on the next video, which will be this Friday at 6 for my GT Tours. I'm going to pose the question. My car, my Porsche, was the cheapest, least powerful, least torquey, least number of cylinders car on tour. Did I have the least amount of fun? Well, tune in on Friday to find out. You take care, guys. Drive safe.